CDL General Knowledge Practice Test, Questions and Answers. What is the most important factor for doing a vehicle inspection? A. Cleanliness. B. Safety. C. To kill time before you leave. D. All of the above. The answer? B. Safety is the #1 reason for doing a vehicle inspection. How are hydraulic brakes tested for leaks? A. Check on the ground near the tire for any leaks. B. By stepping on the brake and accelerator at the same time. C. With the vehicle stopped, pump the brakes 3 times, then apply firm pressure to the pedal and hold for 5 seconds. The answer? C. To check your hydraulic brakes for leaks, with a stopped vehicle, pump the brakes 3 times. Then apply firm pressure to the pedal and hold for 5 seconds. If the pedal moves, there could be a leak and you should have it fixed before driving. What is the number of emergency reflective triangles you should have on board your vehicle? A. 4, B. 2, C. 3. The answer? C. You should always carry 3 reflective triangles on board your vehicle. What is an escape ramp? A. A place for truckers to relax. B. The first thing you should try during brake failure. C. Made to stop a runaway vehicle safely without injuring drivers and passengers. The answer? C. Escape ramps were built to help stop runaway vehicles safely to avoid injuring drivers and passengers. They are made of loose, soft material to slow a runaway vehicle. What are the 3 things that add up to total stopping distance? A. Perception distance. B. Reaction distance. C. Braking distance. D. All of the above. The answer? D. Perception distance plus reaction distance plus braking distance equal total stopping distance. True or false? There are 3 types of vehicles that can get stuck on a railroad highway crossing. The answer? False. The 2 types of vehicle that can get stuck on a railroad highway crossing are a single-axle tractor pulling long trailers with landing gear set to accommodate a tandem axle tractor, and low-slung units such as car carriers, lowboys, possum belly livestock trailers, and moving vans. What is the proper braking technique for going down a long, steep downgrade? A. Put the vehicle in neutral and apply the brakes at 50%. B. Downshift and apply the brakes. C. Apply the brakes hard enough to feel a slowdown. When speed is reduced by approximately 5 miles per hour below your safe speed, release the brakes. When your speed increases to your safe speed, repeat steps 1 and 2. The answer? C. There are 3 steps for proper braking technique. Step 1. Apply pressure to the brakes enough to feel a slowdown. Step 2. Once your speed has reduced to 5 miles per hour below your safe speed, release the brakes. Step 3. Once your speed has increased to your safe speed, repeat steps 1 and 2. Which of the following are key steering system parts? A. Steering arms. B. Pitman arm. C. Drag link. D. All of the above. The answer? D. A steering system consists of the following: steering arms, steering wheel shaft, tie rod, spindle, drag link, steering ring knuckle, pitman arm, and a steering gear box. What are some suspension system defects? A. Cracked or broken spring hangers. B. Missing or broken leaves in any leaf spring. C. Leaking shock absorbers. D. All of the above. The answer? D. Some of the key suspension system defects are cracked or broken spring hangers that allow movement of an axle from proper position, missing or broken leaves in any leaf spring, leaking shock absorbers, spring hangers that are cracked, damaged, or missing, air suspension systems that are damaged or leaking, and loose, cracked, broken, or missing frame members. It is important to always check your tires. What are some issues you may encounter? A. Dual tires that come in contact with each other or other parts of the vehicle. B. Too much or too little air pressure. C. Tread separation. D. All of the above. The answer? D. Some common tire problems to look out for are too much or too little air pressure, cuts or damage, tread separation, dual tires that come in contact with each other or part of the vehicle, and mismatched sizes. What are some exhaust system defects? A. Loose, broken, or missing pipes, mufflers, or tailpipes. B. Missing brackets, clamps, bolts, or nuts. C. Exhaust system parts rubbing against fuel system parts, tires, or other moving parts of the vehicle. Or D. All of the above. The answer? D. Some exhaust system defects may include loose, broken, or missing pipes, mufflers or tailpipes, missing brackets, clamps, bolts, or nuts, exhaust system parts rubbing against fuel system parts, tires, or other moving parts on the vehicle. True or false? An empty truck takes more time to brake than a fully loaded one. Answer? True. An empty truck takes longer to stop as an empty truck has less traction than a fully loaded truck. What is the minimum tread depth for front tires? 2 32nds of an inch, 3 32nds of an inch, 4 32nds of an inch. The answer? C. You need at least 4 32nds of an inch tread depth in every major groove on front tires. You need 2 32nds of an inch on all other tires. No fabric should show through the tread or side wall. When backing up, why is it important to use a helper? A. So you have someone to talk to. B. To help you with the blind spots that you cannot see. C. They can back the truck up for you. The answer? B. There are blind spots that you cannot see. That's why a helper is important. The helper should stand near the back of your vehicle where you can see the helper. Before you begin backing up, work out a set of hand signals that you both understand. Agree on a signal for stop. How far ahead does the CDL manual say you should look? A. 2 minutes. B. 12 to 15 seconds. C. 20 to 30 seconds. The answer? B. Most good drivers look at least 12 to 15 seconds ahead. This means looking ahead the distance you will travel in 12 to 15 seconds. True or false? It is okay to safely remove the radiator cap as long as the engine isn't overheated. The answer? False. Never remove the radiator cap from a vehicle unless it is cool to the touch. You're driving along and are confronted by an aggressive driver. What do you do? A. Pull over. B. Report the aggressive driver to the proper authorities. C. Don't back down. Make eye contact and stand your ground. D. Speed up. The answer, B. When faced with an aggressive driver, it is important to never engage them, avoid eye contact, and when safe to report them to the proper authorities with license plate number, vehicle description, location, and direction of travel. What is black ice? A. A thin layer of ice that makes the road look wet. B. Ice that turns black when you touch it. C. A layer of ice that forms on your windshield. The answer? A. Black ice is a thin layer of ice that forms on road surfaces that make the road appear wet. When stopped on a divided highway, where should your reflectors be placed? A. 10 feet, 100 feet, and 200 feet toward approaching traffic. B. 20 feet, 50 feet, and 100 feet toward approaching traffic. Or C. 5 feet, 50 feet, and 100 feet toward approaching traffic. The answer? A. If you must stop on a divided highway, always place warning devices 10 feet, 100 feet, and 200 feet toward approaching traffic. There are 3 types of emergency equipment you must have. Which of the following is not one of them? A. Police scanner. B. Red reflective triangles. C. Spare electrical fuses. D. Fire extinguisher. The answer, A. Your emergency equipment on board should consist of a properly charged and rated fire extinguisher, 3 red reflective triangles, and spare electrical fuses. Name some warning signs of fatigue. A. Heavy eyelids or frequent blinking. B. Yawning repeatedly or rubbing eyes. C. Drifting between lanes. D. All of the above. The answer? D. Some warning signs of fatigue are difficulty focusing, frequent blinking or heavy eyelids, frequent yawning, rubbing eyes, daydreaming or disconnected thoughts, trouble keeping head up, and drifting between lanes. What type of vehicles are required to have anti-lock braking systems? A. Truck tractors with air brakes built on or after March 1, 1997. B. Other air brake vehicles such as trucks, buses, trailers, and converter dollies built on or after March 1, 1998. C. Hydraulically braked trucks and buses with gross vehicle weight rating of 10,000 pounds or more built on or after March 1, 1999. D. All of the above. The answer? D. Vehicles that require anti-lock brake systems are truck tractors with air brakes built on or after March 1, 1997, other air brake vehicles such as trucks, buses, trailers, and converter dollies built on or after March 1, 1998, and hydraulically braked trucks and buses with gross vehicle weight rating of 10,000 pounds or more built on or after March 1, 1999. Which of the following can be considered a road hazard? A. Work zones. B. Foreign objects. C. Off-ramps and on-ramps. D. All of the above. The answer? D. Traveling in a commercial vehicle, you can encounter many hazards on the road. Slow down if you see any of the following while on the road: work zones, foreign objects, off-ramps and on-ramps, and drop-offs. How much space should you leave between you and the vehicle in front of you? A. 1 second for every 10 feet of trailer under 40 miles per hour. B. 2 seconds for every 10 feet of trailer under 40 miles per hour. C. 4 seconds for every 10 feet of trailer under 40 miles per hour. The answer? A. One good rule is to keep at least 1 second for each 10 feet of vehicle length at speeds under 40 miles per hour between you and the vehicle in front of you. What is hydroplaning? A. When a plane makes an emergency landing on the highway. B. When water and slush collect on the roadway and your tires cannot connect with the surface of the road and you lose control of the vehicle. C. When water freezes on the road and makes the surface look wet. The answer? B. Hydroplaning happens when water or slush collects on the road and your tires lose contact with the road and you lose control of the vehicle. True or false? Stopping is the safest thing to do in an emergency. The answer? False. You may not always have room to stop during an emergency, so steering around an obstacle may be a quicker, more safe option. What are the two special conditions where you should downshift? A. Going up a hill and turning. B. Going down a hill and slowing down. C. Before entering a curve and starting down a hill. The answer? C. Special conditions where you should downshift are before starting down a hill and before entering a curve. True or false? You should turn wide left before turning right. The answer? False. Don't turn wide to the left as you start to turn. A following driver may think you are turning left and try to pass you on the right, causing an accident. Before starting down a hill, what is the proper gear that your vehicle should be in? A. Shift into a lower gear. B. The same gear you were in before the hill. C. Shift up a gear. The answer? A. When starting down a hill, it is important to downshift to a speed you can handle without needing to use the brakes. If you are driving twice as fast, your stopping distance increased by 2 or 4 times. A. 2, B. 4. The answer? B. Whenever your speed is doubled, it will take your vehicle 4 times the distance to stop. Not to mention your vehicle will have 4 times the amount of destructive power if it crashes. Which of the following is something that you need to be checked on the front of your vehicle during the walk-around inspection? A. Check that the low beams are on. B. Check that your turn signals both work properly. C. Check that the hazard lights work properly. D. All of the above. The answer? D. Making sure your headlights, directionals, and hazard lights work properly is an important step of your walk-around inspection. You wear corrective glasses or contact lenses. When is it okay to drive without them? A. On short trips. B. When parking. C. Never. D. When it's raining. The answer? C. Always wear corrective lenses when driving, even if driving short distances. If your driver's license says corrective lenses are required, it is illegal to move a vehicle without using corrective lenses. True or false? Aggressive drivers and road rage are the same thing. The answer? False. Road rage is when someone operating a motor vehicle with intent to do harm to others or physically assault a driver or their vehicle, where an aggressive driver is a more selfish, pushy driver who has no regards for rights or safety of others. Which of the following is a cause of a vehicle fire? A. Underinflated tires. B. Electrical system issues. C. Spilled fuel. D. all of the above. The answer? D. Some causes of vehicle fires are after accidents, spilled fuel or improper use of flares, tires that are underinflated, electrical system issues, and flammable cargo with poor ventilation. What are two causes for tire fires? A. Overinflated tires and dual tires that don't touch. B. Underinflated tires and dual tires that touch. C. Driving too long. The answer? B. Two causes of tire fires are underinflated tires and dual tires that touch. As a truck driver, how often should you inspect the securement of your cargo? A. Within the first 25 miles. B. Within the first 50 miles of a trip and every 150 miles or every 3 hours, whichever comes first. C. Within the first 100 miles of the trip and every 500 miles or every 3 hours, whichever happens first. The answer? B. Drivers of trucks and truck tractors when transporting cargo must inspect the securement of the cargo within the first 50 miles of the trip and every 150 miles or every 3 hours, whichever occurs first. True or false? When backing up, you should always back up towards the driver's side. The answer? True. For optimal line of view, always back up toward the driver's side. If you become tired while driving, what should you do? A. Turn your music up loud. B. Pull over and get some rest. C. Have some coffee. D. Roll the windows down for some fresh air. The answer? B. If you become tired while driving, the safest option is to pull over and get some rest. What are some signs of a distracted driver? A. Vehicles drifting in and out of lanes. B. Drivers using cell phones while driving. C. Changes in vehicle speed. D. All of the above. The answer? D. Signs of a distracted driver are vehicles drifting between the lanes, using cell phones without hands-free devices, vehicles driving at inconsistent speeds, and drivers who are involved in conversations with passengers. True or false? BC-type fire extinguishers are designed to work on electrical fires and burning liquids. The answer? True. The BC-type fire extinguishers are designed to work on electrical fires and burning liquids. If you are driving a 40-foot vehicle at 55 miles per hour, how many seconds of following distance should you allow? A. 2 seconds. B. 4 seconds. C. 5 seconds. The answer? C. You should leave at least 1 second for each 10 feet of vehicle and speeds below 40 miles per hour. If the speeds are greater than 40 miles per hour, you should add 1 second to the distance. Therefore, a 40-foot vehicle traveling above 40 miles per hour should leave at least 5 seconds of distance between the vehicle in front of them. What is a glare? A. A nasty look from a distracted driver. B. Being blinded for a short time by a bright light. C. A camera flash. The answer? B. A glare can blind a driver for a short period of time. Don't look directly into oncoming lights to avoid being blinded by a glare. True or false? You've had a couple beers. Having a cup of coffee and some fresh air will sober you up. The answer? False. Only time can sober up a driver. No other methods will work. 2 things that every good driver looks ahead for are A. Rest stops and restaurants. B. Traffic and road conditions. C. Construction detours and road signs. The answer? B. Paying attention to traffic and road conditions is something a good driver looks for when driving. Why is it a good idea to put the starter switch key in your pocket during pre-inspection? A. So you don't lose the key. B. So no one moves the vehicle while you're inspecting underneath. C. So no one tries to steal your vehicle. The answer? B. It is important to put your starter switch key in your pocket during pre-trip inspection so no one can move your vehicle while you might be underneath it inspecting. It is foggy out. The best advice for driving in fog is A. Don't. B. Use high beams. 3. Speed up and attempt to drive out of the fog. The answer? A. The best advice for driving in fog is don't drive in fog. If you must drive in fog, obey all fog-related warning signs. Slow down before you enter the fog. Use low beam headlights and fog lights for best visibility, even in daytime. And be alert for other drivers who may have forgotten to turn their headlights on. Turn on your 4-way flashers. This will give vehicles approaching you from behind a quicker opportunity to notice your vehicle. Watch for vehicles on the side of the roadway. Seeing taillights or headlights in front of you may not be a true indication of where the road is ahead of you. The vehicle may not be on the road at all. Use roadside highway reflectors as guides to determine how the road may curve ahead of you. Listen for traffic you cannot see, and avoid passing other vehicles. What is the best way to use in-vehicle communication equipment safely? A. Post on social media while on the road. B. Use hands-free devices at all times. C. Use a laptop to keep a communication with family. B. The use of hands-free devices are the best way to use in-vehicle communications safely. What is a cause of a skid? A. Overbraking. B. Oversteering. C. Driving too fast. D. All of the above. The answer? D. The 4 main causes of skids are overbraking, braking too hard and locking up your wheels; oversteering, turning the wheel more sharply than the vehicle can turn; over-accelerating, supplying too much power to the drive wheels; and finally, driving too fast. Most serious skids are the result of driving too fast. True or false? Night driving is less dangerous because there are less vehicles on the road. The answer? False. Night driving can be very dangerous. Drivers can't see hazards like during the day, giving them less time to respond.